Howdy guys, Mac Double Tap. So this is kind of a after recorded intro to a couple of these. I call them 3-gun scopes. They're there's some use for them in the tactical world too, along with close-up optic. I mean, it's a setup that a lot more people are going to. They use one of these 1-4, 1-6, 1-8 power scopes, and then they use a small red dot off to the side of it. But for me, I was testing for the for the concept of 3-gun matches. But as I test everything, I test it pretty tough, and so I've got several different scopes we're going to talk about over the next couple of months that I wanted to go through. I wanted to go through some cheap ones. I shouldn't say cheap, inexpensive ones. Wanted to go through some of the middle range ones, some of the higher end ones. So we're going to start with a lower end price wise. And I don't have pulled up what this is at Optics Planet right now, which is going to be my benchmark for all the pricing. Everybody has their own MSRP. I'm going to tell you what you can get these things at Optics Planets for. This one's in and around the $300 mark. It is the Sightmark Rapid AR 1-4x20 with the SHR-223 reticle. Now, Sightmark did send this to me. They sent this and the mount for test and evaluation. I have to send it back. And I'm getting ready to send it back. I figured instead of trying to show everybody, I would just, kind of, this is what the reticle is, and how it's set up. It illuminates. There's a battery pack, or battery that goes in this door. It's a half-minute, still got some mud on it. It's a half-minute scope. Sighted in just fine when we sighted it in. It is a second focal plane. Some of the key specs, it's made out of aluminum, uses CR2032 battery. You can get it anywhere. 30 millimeter tube. Field of view at 100 yards, 93 feet. At 1 power, down to 22.7 feet at 4 power, which has a pretty generous, I can honestly say, a pretty generous field of view as far as some of these go. Like I said, it's the second focal plane scope. I'm not going to get into what that means if you don't know. It is an etched reticle. It is shockproof, so they say. Now, I'm not going to compare apples to ducks. I'm not going to compare this $300 scope to the next scope in the chain, which is in the $1,500 range. So I'm going to put the shooting string and what we came up with for a test, which I kind of found amusing. But I'm going to put the shooting string up and the drop test, and then I'm going to come back and I'll play kind of the end of this. Hi guys, Mac Double Tap. Sorry it's windy, we're out of range. We're doing some testing today. Part of my build for my 3-gun that I accurized was, now we are looking for a 1-4 or 1-6 power scope to put on it. I sent out a request to a bunch of different companies, had a couple come back. There's next one we're going to test, but this one here is Sightmark, and this is their Rapid 1-4x20. I tried real hard to come up with a decent, here comes a blast of wind, I hope it doesn't hurt me, a decent benchmark for how we're going to test them and compare them. We're going to do a reliability test. Now that I got it zeroed, I'm going to toss it on the ground a few times and all that. And what I decided to do for a, to kind of compare them, this being a $300 scope, and that is their mount. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a big fan of their mount. It's in the way of the charging handle pretty bad. So far, just initial impression of the scope. It's got an illuminated dot in the middle of it if the battery's still alive, and it's not. When I first got it out of the box and was playing with it, I left it on. It did not shut itself off, so it killed the battery, and that's kind of my first problem with it. I don't know if there's a way you can set it to shut off after a while, but anyway, overall, I mean, it's balanced nice. It doesn't, it's pretty light in comparison. I'll have to get the specs. I didn't bring them with me. The parallax doesn't seem to be anything outside the ordinary for, a $300-ish range scope. But what we're gonna do I just got done zeroing it 100 yards, and what we're gonna do for benchmark is we're gonna stretch 12 soda cans out across that 100 yards, and we're going to see how fast I can shoot them. And then I got a fresh out of the boot camp Marine, we're gonna see how fast he can shoot them. So I'm gonna get set up. We're gonna put the gun, or I'm sorry, we're gonna put the GoPro right on the gun, so you kind of got a real up front view of what's happening. And I'm gonna get that set up and we'll be back. Alright, so out here we got 12 pop cans, and they are not real easy to see. I'll walk you out to the first one. They are. We got orange thinking that they would be bright, but they're not. So that's alright. It's a good test of the scope and how well you're able to find things in the scope. Now I'm going to run this on 1 until I get out to about the 3rd can, and then I'm going to probably dial it up. There's 12 out there, so we're going to see how well we can do at it. Alright, so I'm going to start from the low, ready, and safe, and on his command we're going to go, and he's going to time it.
Shooter ready?
Ready.
Begin.
Run it up to 4. I think that's all but the last 2.
One minute, 5 seconds.
So 1:05 is what it took me to run them cans. After digging for them and looking for them, they don't show up as good as I thought they would against that green. But we're going to load her back up. We're going to give the Marine a chance to see how well he can do. Alright, now we got the jar head up here. So, see how fast he runs this. Kind of another way to show the kids that the old guys know what they're doing too. Alright, shooter ready.
Ready.
Stand by. Up.
I do.
Last one. Miss. Well. No idea. To the right. To the right. Dig into it. Miss. Right below it.
Right below it.
Do we need to put a bayonet on there and you run up and stab the motherfucker or what?
That might be better.
It's only 100 yards, fuck. There you go. 2 minutes and 5 seconds. That last one was giving you a problem. Well, so there's kind of a rough idea of what the scope's capable of. Now we're going to do some drop testing and see if it's still zeroed. We'll go up there and mark the target I was shooting at earlier. And we'll do a good couple of drops and see what happens. Alright, so now we're going to do a drop test. We're going to do something that's against every Marine's nature. Alright, straight down on the scope. Now pick it up, give her a toss up in the air. Alright, do it one more time, just so we know that it's going to work. Alright, well, I'm going to clear it, make sure it's safe, and we're going to see if it still shoots the group that it should. We'll be back here in a minute. Alright, let's see. This was nuts on the metal, and I hope the GoPro doesn't fall down when I do this. I'm just going to put 3 center mass and see if we got a good, still got a good zero. Wow. I think that's enough to prove that I guess I don't need it, I can't see the display. Some of that's me freehanding without a really good rest. I know that gun will group. So that last one in the middle was me Kentucky windaging it. The whole scope dropped. It was dead on in the middle when I sighted in. Obviously we're shooting pop cans. But them drops moved the whole scope down. I'll call it 3 inches. Is what it is. You guys come here for true results. It shoots real well. It's got real good eye relief, but you know, for the first one we drop test like that, it didn't handle it real well. I don't know if it's their mount, I don't know if it's their scope, but is what it is. So now you know. We're gonna set up the different scope, and that'll be in a different video. But appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Got a new video. I got a new website up where I'm going to have, among other things, sales in all 50 states where you can buy, sell, and trade your guns, and everybody will leave you alone. So look for links for that down in the description. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good day. Alright guys, now that you've seen that, kind of go over my opinion of the scope. And like I said, I'm not comparing this scope to other scopes. I am, you know, on its own merit. You know, the first thing, the way you have to turn the whole eyepiece to go from 1 to 4 power, to me, that is a negative part of usability compared to some of these other scopes. It's a long throw to get from 1 to 4. Way longer than it needs to be, like compared to the Bushnell maybe. But the turrets are a lift up and turn concept. There's no external caps to protect it once it's there, other than lift up and go down, which that might be great for certain applications. I don't know that I'm a big fan of that in this application. I kind of prefer a cap concept, but it works. It worked fine. As far as I know, I didn't have any problem with it. That's a personal preference. Their scope mounts, which was about 60 bucks, I wouldn't give you. I definitely would look for a different solution for a mount. It worked just fine. It held at 0 just fine. But with these quick locks that they've got in here, when you ran up to access the charging handle, man, they were right there, and they bit me more than once. Maybe Sightmark could look into redesigning that a little bit, maybe. As far as mounting, I mean, it mounted up fine. The eye relief is like 4.5, 5 inches, completely generous. Didn't have any problem getting it up there. So as far as usability, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. Clarity, I mean, and I don't know, I'll know the clearest scope in this set as I find them. I mean, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It's pretty clear. Durability, you can see in the dop test, it unzeroed by a good bit. Now, those shots, and here's the way I look at it. Were those shots still combat effective in a time of life situation? Yes, they were. But it did, of what I've tested so far, it moved the furthest. So I'm gonna give it a durability of and I did the whole water testing. I dunked these things in water for 5 minutes and all that, which, I mean, they all say they're waterproof, they all say they're fog proof, and so far they have been. It is, but for durability, this scope's, going to get a 3 out of 5. I mean, because that's kind of the 3 things that matter to me is, the usability, the durability, and the clarity. The reticle's easy to see, especially when it's illuminated. It's not a bad solution for the price point. It's really not. And I know everybody hacks on Sightmark and says they're the bottom of the barrel. I don't think that they're the bottom of the barrel. I think that they build a quality product. Like I said, I'm sending this back. It's not like they gave it to me. I have no reason to sugarcoat it or whatever. It is For somebody building a budget gun and wants looking for a budget optic, you know, the drop test that we do, you saw it. I mean, it's reasonably brutal comparatively. I mean, hitting the ground 3 times, once from a normal human being height and a couple of times from twice that distance. I mean, that's as good as a shock as anybody's ever going to put on it. And like I said, it moved, but in the scheme of things, that wasn't that far off. And I really, and I've kind of set myself to this. And now, I mean, now I should have brought my lead sled and seen what the scope was capable of shooting. Not just me that day after what we've been doing. But, you know, the question is, will it still group? And, excuse me, I'm only reasonably sure it will still group. I definitely got better string of fire out of the next scope I did when I shot the after drop test video, or the after drop test groups. But there it is, what I think of it. For it is what it is. Sightmark, you can find them on Google, you can find them on Optics Planet. Not a bad optic. It's definitely not junk. And in the scheme of things, we're going to test some lower end budget, quote unquote, optics that you'll find on Amazon or AliExpress. So Sightmark is, you know, not a bad option. So that's my opinion of it. Like I said, I'm not comparing this to other scopes. But anyway, so new website's up. Double taps, TAPS.net. The site's not finished, but it is live, because kind of what the part of that makes me happy is, or I'm really doing it for, is I've got a buy, sell, and trade section in there for guns. I've got it broken down by state right now. I'm open to suggestions if I can make it more effective and more user-friendly. Well, I can't really make it more user-friendly. You guys all know I'm not Mr. Technical as far as building things on the web, but you know, it is definitely there. In fact, I can probably pull it up on the iPad here real quick. Sorry, I hadn't thought of this until .net. That's going to be the one thing you're going to have the hardest. I'm having the hardest time. I couldn't get .com. But there's just kind of quick, you know, what the main page is going to look like. Excuse me. But the forum's up and it's live. So if you go into the buy, sell, and trade section, got it all broken down by state. So anyway, should never go anywhere. Should be, and it doesn't cost anybody a dime. So anyway, check out the website. Excuse me, it's been raining nonstop, and I've been playing in the rain, so I managed to get sick. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out our website, and we'll be back with another review here pretty quick. Appreciate you guys watching.